I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. That, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the most contested quotes of the early 2000s. Every closet nerd and their mother raced to their keyboards to absolutely dunk on poor little Annie over there. But did any of you monsters ever stop for a moment and ask yourselves, maybe he was right?
What?
Yeah, didn't think so. As somebody who's lived with sand for more than half their life, I can tell you it's downright awful. It's full of spurs, can't grow anything useful in it, and it does indeed get everywhere. It's in the house, the car, the dog, your grandma. It's everywhere. Sand is the phantom menace slowly eroding away at our everyday lives. Yet our matters lie not with the sand itself, but the manner in which it arrived. I believe it's about time we address the Ewok in the room. Now, most people have chosen to believe that this was just some throwaway line concocted by Lucas at 4 a.m. the night before filming. But I stand to differ. Do you really believe for a moment that you could sit here and convince me that the same brilliant mind that brought you the genius of Jar Jar Binks would simply write ungestated dialogue to pass the time? No, he would never do that. It is inconceivable that he would treat his beloved series that millions of people cherish and adore like some high school research paper he's totally been working on since the week it was assigned.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
No, he would never do that. Clearly, the more logical solution is that my boy Annie here has been reading the works of Kobo Abe, specifically The Woman in the Dunes. Originally published in 1962, The Woman in the Dunes depicts the life of Tokyo entomologist Nicky Junpei and his expedition to a distant fishing village. Immersed in his quest to discover new variants of insects, Junpei loses track of time, missing the last bus back to the city. Seemingly, by chance, he bumps into local fishing legend Skeet Reese, who informs him of his predicament. Hi. In an act of hospitality, he offers Junpei lodging back at their sand-ridden village. He accepts and is slowly lowered down into one of the houses to board with the mysterious young woman living there. Unfortunate. For the following morning, he quickly discovers that he's been given the Sarlacc pit treatment, as the rope ladder that once lowered him down has been removed, leaving him trapped at the bottom of the dune. Much like the insects he initially sought to capture. The irony is palpable. In joyous revelry, the villagers peer over the edge to observe their newly captured specimen. They gaze upon him omnipotently in expectation that he should help the woman shovel away the sand in order to protect both her home and the subsequent houses beneath her. And so they can later sell the sand to concrete manufacturers at the expense of freely enforced labor. Capitalism. Now I know it's been a long year and it may be a bit difficult to draw a correlation between that ridiculous line and this young man's predicament. Believe me, I get it. But fear not, for like the upper chamber of an hourglass, the relation becomes clear with time.
The sand is a metaphor.
Throughout the novel, sand takes on many representations. For starters, it's a constant reminder of how meaningless our lives actually are. Much like time, sand remains unbothered by the actions of the living world. So regardless of how much the villagers actually manage to shovel, the sand will always flow. It soars with the winds, roars with the tides, and scours our existence from this very earth, grain by miserable grain. And with a diameter of 1/8 of a millimeter, it's living proof that size, in fact, does not matter. It's what you do with it that counts. Gentlemen. However, it is this monotonous rumination that plagues the minds of both Junpei and Anakin. Throughout most of the book, Junpei condemns the woman's dedication to this rustic enslavement much in the same manner that Anakin contests the outdated philosophies of the Jedi. His pugnacious remarks seek to remind her that all the hard work she does will ultimately amount to nothing. Her passivity simply allows the villagers to take advantage of her in exchange for nothing more than the faded memory of a home once embodied. Yet, much like the origins of his arrival, Junpei's words are a passionate one-way ticket, as they are completely lost upon the woman. To her, the act of shoveling is no different than eating food or drinking water. It's just innately a part of the life she's chosen to live. So no matter which way he attempts to spin his logic, she remains unfazed, holding true to her beliefs. Thus, sifting the string that ties all this together. Ladies and gentlemen, might I present to you The Sand Nomadcy, starring Matt Damon.
Facial recognition got a hit. Jesus Christ,
Sand. One of the more fascinating arguments Junpei proposes is the necessity of a stationary condition for existence to thrive. In life, we tend to set a central point in which we commonly return to. This is what most of us would refer to as our homes. From there, we draw a compass around it that embodies the outer limits of our daily activities. Going to work, the grocery store, visiting a friend, the gym. Yet, more often than not, we end up returning to these so-called homes. The argument is that, born from our need to cling to this fixed position, arises unpleasant competition. Every day we compete against a grand slew of things in order to maintain our homes, such as the elements slowly eroding away at their physical form, other people for sufficient work to afford such a thing in the first place, and our contentment as it frays with each passing of time's blade. He proposes that if we were to become nomadic like sand, or go with the flow, that this competition would dissipate. Interestingly enough, this concept isn't just tethered to a physical form. It's applicable to a myriad of things, including the realm of thought. As I mentioned previously, Anakin views this competition as the Jedi's undying need to hold fast outdated philosophies. They reject the qualities of life that are so deeply ingrained into the definition of human. Passion, emotion, attachment, and death. Their center point is the commitment to the severance of these traits. However, per the nature of homeostasis, once one extreme is proclaimed, a counter is born. Competition. But extremes such as the light and dark sides of the Force can't naturally stand on their own, for there's always a path of gray paved between them from which they secede. And it's only after walking this path that old Anakin is able to eliminate both, indicating that in order to achieve balance, one must embrace all aspects of life that define being human. So, when Anakin says that he hates sand, what he's really saying is that its nomadic properties remind him of how unnatural the very thing he's dedicated his life towards actually is. That is, unless you consider the Abrams films to be canon, in which case...
Pocket sand!
Anywho, I am going to be redoing these floors over the next few weeks, so all this sand must go, because it is absolutely everywhere. But I do appreciate you stopping by. Just mind that door on your way out. No idea what that's about. Anyway, take care, and I'll catch you next time.